Some storms come to destroy, but others, they arrive to bring people together. This is the story of a struggling father, a little girl with big dreams, and a pilot who fell from the sky, only to lift their hearts higher than ever before. He was trying his best. But no matter how hard he worked, David's small boat repair shop just wasn't making money anymore. Life was getting harder every day. Then one stormy afternoon, something unexpected happened. A small plane fell from the sky, and inside was a woman who would change everything. David rubbed his hand through his short brown hair and stared at the dark sky. The wind howled outside, shaking the windows of his workshop. It was too stormy to work on the boats today. He sighed and turned back inside. In the corner sat his 6-year-old daughter, Emma, drawing quietly on a stool. "Daddy, look," she said, holding up her picture. He forced a smile. It was a beautiful drawing. Blue sky, white clouds, and a bright rainbow. A dream, but nothing like the storm outside. "It's beautiful, sweetheart," he said, kissing her forehead. But Emma wasn't looking at the drawing anymore. Her eyes were on the window, and her lip trembled slightly. She loved planes. Every day she watched them fly overhead. Her biggest dream? To become a pilot. But David couldn't afford even a toy plane, let alone flying lessons. He could barely keep the lights on. "Daddy, will I ever see a real airplane?" Her voice was so soft, it felt like it came straight from his heart. David knelt beside her. He smiled, though it hurt. "Of course you will." It was a lie, and it broke him. Just then, something in the sky caught his eye. A small plane, tossed by the wind like a leaf, struggling to stay up. Then suddenly, it dropped. David froze. The plane was falling. Without thinking, he ran outside into the storm. His heart raced. Emma's face flashed in his mind, but he couldn't stop. Someone needed help. He found her near the crash site. A young woman, unconscious in the mud. Blood ran down her forehead. Her skin was cold and pale. David checked her breathing. She was alive. He tried lifting her, but she was heavy, and there was no one around to help. Everyone was hiding from the storm. But David lived nearby. If he could just get her to his house. He took a deep breath, lifted her onto his back, and started walking. The rain soaked him. Her weight slowed him down, but he didn't stop. Finally, his house came into view. He laid her down behind his car under a tarp and rushed to the door. "Emma," he said quickly, "there's someone hurt. We need to help." Emma didn't hesitate. "I'll get a blanket," she said, running upstairs. Together, they covered the pilot. "Can we call an ambulance?" Emma asked. David nodded, whispering, "Yes, sweetheart." He called and waited, keeping the woman conscious. Soon the sound of sirens broke through the rain. Paramedics arrived and lifted the woman onto a stretcher. "Will she be okay?" Emma asked, her voice shaky. "I don't know," David said honestly. A paramedic smiled at them. "She's going to be fine. You two did something amazing today." Then he looked at Emma. "You've got a bright future ahead of you," he said with a wink. "Maybe in medicine?" Emma blushed. David smiled proudly. "That's my girl." A few days later, while David worked in the garage, he heard a sound, a helicopter. He stepped outside and saw a small crowd, and the woman he had saved. She walked up, smiling. "Hi, David. I came to thank you, and Emma, for saving my life." She looked down. "I've never crashed before. I've been flying for years. That storm, it was like nothing I've ever seen." Then she looked up at him, eyes full of gratitude. "If you hadn't found me," David waved his hand. "No big deal," he said with a smile. "Besides, you saved my daughter's life too." The pilot blinked. "I did?" He nodded. "Emma drew you a picture when you were unconscious. You didn't even know it, but you gave her hope. You made her dream real." The pilot pulled out the drawing. She had kept it. On the back, Emma had written, "Thank you for coming to our home. Please come again." The pilot looked at David, eyes soft. "I'd like to do more than just visit, David," she said. "How would you and Emma like to go on an airplane ride?" Emma gasped. "Really?" "Really," the pilot smiled. "It's the least I can do." Emma turned to David, eyes wide with joy. "Can we, Daddy?" He hesitated. He wanted to protect her. But how could he say no to a dream? "Okay," he said, laughing, "but I'm not getting on that plane." The pilot laughed too. "Fair enough. Emma and I can handle it." Emma couldn't stop smiling as she climbed aboard the helicopter. An hour later, when she returned, she burst through the door. "It was amazing, Daddy. I got to fly the helicopter." David's jaw dropped. "You did?" "She let me," Emma beamed. The pilot stepped out smiling. "Emma," she said, handing her a small box. "I got this for you." Inside was a model helicopter. Beautiful, detailed, perfect. "Thank you," Emma whispered. The pilot turned to David and touched his shoulder. "Thank you again, David. I owe you so much." He smiled. "No," he said softly, "I owe you. You gave my daughter something I never could, a piece of her dream." The pilot smiled back. "Well, maybe one day you'll see me on TV, famous pilot and all." David chuckled. "I believe you. You've got the heart for it." As they walked back into the house, David looked down at Emma. "Come on, sweetheart," he said. "Let's go inside." And as the door closed behind them, David smiled, because deep down he knew Emma's journey was just beginning, and the sky was no longer out of reach. David thought he was saving a stranger, but in truth, she saved them too. Emma's dream was no longer just a drawing on paper. It was now something she had touched, something she had flown. And sometimes the biggest miracles come from the smallest acts of courage. One storm, one rescue, one dream, and a sky that suddenly didn't seem so far away. If this story touched your heart, if you believe in the power of kindness, dreams, and second chances, then don't forget to subscribe. Because here, every story has a soul, and every soul deserves to be heard. Subscribe now and be part of something beautiful.